It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
This is the Cosmic Voice. Cosmic Voice. Music, talk, and nothing but business with your hosts, Chris Nanolini and Mick Michaels. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Cosmic Voice. This is Season 4, Episode 3. I am here with my co-host, Chris Nanolini.
Hello, hello.
And I am Mick Michaels. Welcome back, everyone, to another show. Chris, how are you, sir?
I'm doing great, dude. How are you?
I am fantastic. Fantastic.
Awesome.
Season 4 moving right along. We're into Episode 3 already. It's almost over.
We're already looking at the end.
We're already looking at the end. Well, isn't that like the more seasons you get, the less episodes you have to do?
Is that how that works?
Yeah, you get
right,
less.
cool.
You know, the first one maybe out of the gate you get 27, then the next is like 22. Then you're somewhere in the teens, and then it's a 10-episode season, and then you just finish off with a 2-hour movie and you call it quits.
So does that mean we're going to have our finale is going to be 2 hours?
Yeah, maybe. It may be a 2-hour movie. Season 5 is just a 2-hour episode. Part 1, Part 2.
We could probably do 2-hour podcasts on stuff that we don't normally talk about on the podcast.
Yeah, we have probably the stuff.
We can just blow the entire thing up at the very end.
Before we hit record, there's always something exciting going on, but that can never reach the air.
We could just blow it up.
Yeah,
at the very end.
We would definitely be censored at that point. It wouldn't be that positive turnaround that we're trying to convey.
That is true, brother.
Yeah.
That is true. That is true, sir.
And I think at the end of that airing, there'd be a lot of people that would probably never talk to. But you know what? That line is pretty long for me anyway, the people that won't talk to me anymore. And that's okay. That's less Christmas cards I got to send out, presents I don't have to get, thank yous, whatever. Thank you.
So listen, real quick before we get, because I want to make sure that you don't edit this out, and if I don't hear this, then I know you edited it out.
Okay.
Did you end up finishing the Book of Boba Fett, sir?
Yes, I finished it, and then I took a shovel and I buried it in the backyard.
Come on, man! Yeah. You didn't like the last 2 episodes,
no,
really?
I didn't like any of it. Actually, I was kind of
really?
bummed out. Yeah, I thought it was going to go a certain way, and I mean, I'm not alone in that. And again, I'm to each his own. And I watched it. I watched the season finale twice just to make sure I wasn't missing something. It just was a cheap ploy to keep pushing The Mandalorian, and they didn't need, you know what I mean? I think they could have done it in so many different ways. And I listen, a lot of Star Wars fans say that. I'm not second guessing Disney. I don't necessarily know better than Disney or Lucasfilms or anything. But as a fan, I could tell you what excites me and what doesn't. And that didn't. It just needed more of what we were hoping Boba Fett would have been in a live action. And maybe it was just, maybe it was rushed. And they thought they had something, and they didn't. And there's a lot of commentary now. You can check it out online or YouTube. I mean, people that are far smarter than I am and show analysis and stuff like that. They can give you the reasons why. But I'm just telling you, as an original 77 in the theater, May, when it came out as a kid, I just didn't have that excitement, and I was kind of bummed out. At the end of The Mandalorian, when, Luke showed up, and, they were hinting to it, and I was like, oh, my God, are you... wait a minute. Is that what and then Luke shows up even though it was bad CGI. I got chills. I mean,
that was killer.
I'm an over the hill man, and I got chills. I was excited. I was taken back to 77. I wanted to get my lightsaber and start all that kind of stuff. I was and to me, that's what Star Wars is supposed to be. But again, that's just me. Will I watch it again? Yeah, I'm going to probably watch the whole thing again with no breaks and just see where, some things. I'm not saying that all of it was horrible. There was some kind of stuff that could have went even better. I thought was cool. And, I thought some of the special effects were a little lackluster.
That's absolutely true.
Compared to Mandalorian or anything, especially given that it was Disney. You know, you're running the same studio. I don't know.
I think a lot of the issue, I agree with you, Mick. I do. I think the special effects on the Book of Boba Fett was a little lackluster. I think some of the issue, and you and I have a high school mutual friend who's very, very big into Star Wars, and a lot of his issues is, and I totally agree with him, is that Disney is pushing their version of the Star Wars saga. You know what I mean? Because they are getting money from their own original content. Not that they're kind of putting the old stuff to pasture, but they're moving on with their own original characters and their own content. So, and I think what it's doing is, I think guys like us who are looking for that nostalgia are being disappointed because Disney's kind of have another idea of how they want to treat their Star Wars. I enjoyed the last 2 episodes. I was super stoked about it, especially being a fan of the Clone Wars animated series.
Oh yeah, I am. I'm a huge, and that was so deep and dark and fulfilling. I mean, Rebels was amazing. The writing on that was just incredible. If they can write like that for animation, why can't they do that for live action films? I don't understand.
The only thing I come up with is, they're trying to rush so much stuff in a 7-episode or 8-episode series, and they're not, with Clone Wars, it was seasons and it was long, and it was, they were able to drag it out because I watched the entire Clone Wars, series when it was on. Then I went back and rewatched it when they were putting out the new season. Then I realized that you don't really kind of have to watch the entire season. You can, if you look online, there's like a Clone Wars canon where it shows you the episodes you can watch in order to take you to the end. And so a lot of those episodes were filler, which I didn't realize at the time. So when I rewatched it, I rewatched the series that brought me to the last season.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I agree. I don't think it was great. I think they could have done a lot better with it. Again, I did enjoy it, but if they didn't bring in the Mandalorian and some of the surprises they did, how would it have been? I think it would have really been disappointing. Where in the Mandalorian,
in that vision, it would have definitely been disappointing, and it just would have been. But I think they could have gone a different way, and I don't know, maybe bringing in fresh blood would have been better than the guy that did Spy Kids and Dust Till Dawn or whatever he did. I don't know, but
Robert Rodriguez,
I mean, again, I'm not going to take, the guy's done some great stuff, but I don't know if having him on board was the thing that caused it to go one way or the other. I don't know, but it is what it is, and I'm preparing for Kenobi in May, and Ahsoka, and the next Mandalorian. Like I said, Kiss stuff. I mean, I'm a diehard fan. I may not enjoy all of it, but I will watch it, and I take it for what it is, and then I move on. I just it is what it is.
Yeah, not everything's going to be a hit, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, listen, like you said, like Disney's trying to put their own spin on it. That's why you see a different Star Wars logo or something different in the beginning. Like, it's called Galaxy's Edge. And when I was there, everyone, including myself, we were calling it Star Wars Land. Like, you couldn't stop calling it Star. Like, we were in line with some guy at the Haunted Mansion, and he's got this, $700 lightsaber that he put together, and we're like, somebody's like, where did you get it? And he goes, and the kid, definitely way younger than me and my band members, you know what I mean? So, and he goes, I got it in Star Wars Land. And I turn to Frankie and I go, you see? I go, nobody wants to call it Galaxy's Edge. What does Galaxy's Edge mean? When the Star Wars falls apart, then it's just Disney's Galaxy's Edge, right? It has nothing to do with Star Wars. It could have been any port down there. Right, you know what I mean?
Right.
And that 90% of the place was nothing but stores to buy stuff. Like, give me more Star Wars. You know what I'm saying? Not just to buy stuff. I mean, I get that. That's what it's all about. But, make me believe enough so that I start sticking my hand in my pocket more often. Yeah. Actually, one of the coolest things I got there was I bought 2 Diet Cokes in the little detonator things, little grenade type things. Yeah, I got 2 of them, and you know what I mean. I was excited about that. You know what I mean? Now, see what I mean? That got me. It's like, oh, this is cool. Right. You know what I mean? So.
Right.
All right, listen, we're getting we're going to have to start another channel just for talking about Disney movies, Star Wars, which, seems to be a
listen, we got to
branch
talk about something that you're watching because, you don't watch the Hallmark channel isn't doing Christmas stuff right now. So,
well, every Friday they do.
Every
Friday they do at 8:00. They have one Christmas movie every Friday. But I don't do a lot of Hallmark on the non-Christmas time frame. But I am gearing up for The Last Kingdom. That's coming back for its final season, and then they're doing the finished movie And
yeah.
that should, and I've been watching Star Trek Discovery came back on, and the Prodigy. I've been Star Trek's Prodigy, doing that too, and so I keep myself busy. Keep myself busy, trying to keep up with you, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
This is Stephen Pearcy from Rat, the Rat Bastard. You're listening to the Cosmic Voice.
All right, so tonight what we're talking about is don't talk about it, just do it. Don't talk about it, just do it. Sometimes we all have that tendency. We like to talk and gab. Like we'd like to talk about Star Wars on a music show. And it happens. You know what I mean? So sometimes I got to reel in and just do it and give the topic so Chris can have something to talk about. So here we go. Don't talk about it, just do it, Chris. Just do it. Go ahead, give us some pointers. So how do you take that? What does that mean to you? Don't talk about it, just do it as a musical artist, as a musical thrash death metal icon of today.
Wow, thanks. Just do it means don't talk about it. Do it. You don't have to boast about what you're doing. You don't have to promote what you're doing. Do it first, because I think, you hold yourself responsible, right? And I get that from like people that, post about being at the gym, right? Like they post about being at the gym because they're being responsible. I'm holding myself accountable. If I post I'm at the gym, then I got to be at the gym. I got to work out and I got to look good because people know I'm at the gym. So you're holding yourself accountable as much as I like to. I mean, listen, I'm not going to lie. I love shooting my mouth off in terms of like, if something cool happens, it's so hard for me to hold it in. Like, I'm just not that guy. If there's a cool show coming up or we got a great opportunity, or, when my band's video was about to come out, we were working on the trailer and all of this stuff. And I was so excited, and keeping it under wraps was so hard to do. But sometimes you just have to, and then you just have to show it, man. Just go, boom, this is it. And people go, oh my goodness, like this is what you've been doing. This is why you've been so quiet. So that saying of don't talk about it, just do it. I mean, it really doesn't get any simpler than that. If there's something you want to do, go for it. It may be hard to do. It's nothing's really ever easy, but if it's not easy, then it's going to be worth it in the very, very end, because it's not easy, and easy things aren't fun. It's the hardest things that are the most fun in the end. The hardest things that you end up doing, you're the most proud of, because you did put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into it. This podcast, for example, I'm super proud of this podcast. We talked about it, we put some work into it, and you and I had to do some work, and it's still work. On a weekly basis, we talk about what we're going to talk about, and then we have to think about it. And what we do, especially you do a lot behind the scenes. So we talked about it and we did it. And I'm super proud of this thing that we've built on this in the cosmic universe, this little section of space that we use. I'm just a firm believer, man. Just do it, brother. If it's something you want to do it. If it's something out of the realm that you're interested in, just do it. I'm definitely the pot calling the kettle black, because there are some things I do want to do, and I have to talk myself into it. And sometimes I get in my own head. I'm fully aware of that. I'm definitely not denying that. I try to say yes, man, and go for it, because it's something I want to do.
Yeah, I'm a guy that likes to do it. If I'm talking about it, it's usually an internal thing that I'm talking. Like, say to the band in this case, hey, this is what we're going to do. We get some input. We kind of keep it democratic that way. But I'll use your gym analogy. I've met people that they'll talk about that they're going to go to the gym, or they're going to put together a program, or they're going to, hey, I'm going to start losing weight. And then like a year later, they're still having that same conversation, yet they never took any steps to it. And I'm not singling people out that do or don't want to go to the gym or struggling with weight or whatever. That's not, but I'm using it as an analogy that Chris brought up earlier. But in terms of a band, I mean, I've been around long enough, especially in the lower ends, that you hear it all the time. There's lots of artists who love to live in the past. A lot of people like to live in the past. Oh, I used to be like this. I used to do this, or we used to do that, or we did this and we did that. We did this, we did that. And as we discussed before we started tonight's show, prior to hitting record, a lot of times, especially in today's music industry, in the market, you're only as good as the show you have coming up or the release you have coming out. Because after the show, there's nothing. After that release, there's nothing. Unless there's another show. And they have to be of a certain profile or level of interest to, I mean, there's different levels of shows, right? So, we promote every show, of course, but there's some shows that are bigger PR points than other ones, right? And you have to pepper them in if you're going to be that type of performing artist or band. Because if not, and that's, again, it's okay, but then don't expect something else if you're not putting that time in. So, like, if you want to open up for nationals or you want to be on a bigger package, then just do it. Stop talking about it. Talk to the people. Yeah, figure it out. Talk. If you're going to talk about it, talk to the people that can help make it happen. Find out all the deets, as my bass player says, so that you can make an intelligent decision. Is it something I want to do? Is it not something I want to do? Can I find some medium ground? In this business, in the creative market, there's a lot of lip service that goes on. But then there isn't a lot of follow-up, right? Not a lot of taste to that sizzle, in a sense, right? And you want to be able to do that. And I think, just like we talked about in previous episodes and seasons, it really starts whether you're an individual artist, a solo artist, or you're a band, a duo, a trio. There's 4 or 5 people, 10 people. You have an orchestra. It doesn't matter, but it has to start internally. I have some points that I want to hit in tonight's episode on how I do it, how my band does it, in terms of don't just say it, do it. You especially have been on both sides of the coin as an artist and an artist who also is a resource for other artists for promoting and for advertising and marketing and booking shows and connecting people and stuff like that. What back then, what's now called an influencer, you were a valuable resource on both ends. So, like, what do you see as some important points that can get you from stop talking about it to doing it?
I think that, one of the most important things, and this goes back to, probably one of our first episodes, if it's not our first episode, the business, how you handle your business, right? Like, you have to present yourself in a way where you're not coming off that you don't know what you're doing or what you're talking about. And a band is a business, or an artist is a business, and conducting good business is something that you fall back on. And once you get that little bit of taste, once you go, I'm going to do this. Let's just say I want to play certain club A. You get into club A and you handle the business well. You do what you say you're going to do. You're on time. You do the show. You're professional. Now you have that on your resume. Now you could go, okay, well, because sometimes it's all people need, just that little bit. And that's kind of what I've lived my life on. Like, bad or good, I don't necessarily know, because I look back on things now and I wish I would have done things differently. But I've always, and we've talked about this before too, like, I would do a show and go, okay, looking at the next one. Like, I don't really enjoy those moments. You know what I mean? I kind of go, okay, that's over. What's next? What's bigger? What's better? What are we going to do that's going to raise this level? So if I was able to get that little bit of taste, that was enough for me to go, okay, what's the next thing I want to do? I got to this point. Now I'm going to go to this point, etc. So if you conduct that business and you do it well, you can put that on your resume and you could figure out what your next step's going to be. And you go, okay, well, now I'm going to play this bigger club. So now you go to this, the next promoter, whatever it is, and you go, all right, listen, I did this. I got this on my resume. This is how I did it. Now you have a frame of reference, right? Because people do talk. So maybe that owner knows the other club and they go, hey, I got Chris Natalini coming in. How was he? What did you think? I've been in those experiences. I know how this works sometimes, and club owners do talk. They do, or promoters, whatever. And they go, oh yeah, he was super cool, did super great business. And you go, okay, there you go. So now you just kind of build, it's almost like building a resume, right? Like, you're just kind of doing one thing. And especially in the time of social media, you really can reach out to anybody you want. You could go, this is what I want to do. And you reach out to a person or those people or that business, and you just shoot your shot, right? I mean, what's the worst they could say? No. And then you go, okay, well, now I got to figure out another way to do it. I mean, there's so many ways to do things now, especially with social media. And we didn't have that back in the day. Like, I remember many, many years ago wanting to open up for Cannibal Corpse at the Troc, and I literally just picked up the phone and called the Troc. They didn't know me from Adam. And the guy, John, at the time, who now works for AEG, one of the biggest promoters in the country, he was booking the Troc at the time, and we had a nice conversation. He was like, all right, this is what I need you to do. And I was like, all right, done. And That's what started my amazing relationship with the Trocadero that has literally lasted me till when they closed. I mean, that was in my 20s. But that was just something that I wanted to do. I wanted to do that show, and I just picked up the phone, and boom, there it was. So you got to take your chances, shoot your shot. If you want to do it, go for it, figure it out, and hopefully it will work. And if it doesn't work, then you don't stop. You just figure out another way to get it done. Like you and I had said, there's so many ways now to reach people, whether it's sending them electronic press kits or, sending them videos or, whatever the case may be. But in this day and age, man, I just reach out or find someone that has done a show and go, hey, man, how did you do that show? Who did you talk to? And hopefully they'll be cool enough to reciprocate that information. And there you go.
Yeah. Listen, like kind of what you're saying is, especially with, whether it was before social media or even now, like you want your reputation to kind of precede you in a way, right? So if you have good business relations, you want that to meet this prospective resource or outlet at the door and say, and they're already aware of what you're doing. So they don't have to fish around. Now, again, there's people that are starting from scratch, so you're going to have to build that. But it is the way you conduct yourself, the way it is you present yourself. As we talked about before, it's a business, it's a brand, it's a band, however you want to put it out there. But,
yep.
Your social media outlets are for promotional marketing purposes. If you need a personal outlet, create a separate account. I'm not a firm believer in letting the two mesh together, even though, we're still, almost 10 years later, still kind of that we're running that Taylor Swift model that you got to wear your heart and everything else out on your sleeve and let the world, kind of just take it as you bleed it out. And I'm not totally on board with that. And I don't think that that's a working model right now. And then remember, if we're starting to take it down from, as it trickled down, that means it's already passé. They're on someplace else. Right. So, there's some things that I kind of put into perspective, whether it's, I put it in paper or it's a mental note, or actually it's a combination of both and a few other things. But some things that, like you were saying early on, like it's not going to be easy, right? There's going to be a challenge to it. If it was too easy, it's not appreciated. And then it's taken for granted. And then you have a lot of loose ends and things just kind of spiral out of control sooner or later. It may be great at first, but then after a while you're like, what's the difference, It's kind of like saying, I'll get it tomorrow. It's there tomorrow. You know what I mean? Right. It's when we're in short supply, when scarcity happens, you're like, I got to make the most of this now. Right? And we do learn that over time. It's a maturation, not just as the individual, but as we mature within the business and we learn the ropes and, we take a couple shots or several hundred or 1,000 over the course of the years, and you start saying, okay, let me avoid that headshot. Let me move from here. So, so if you put the time in, and I'm always the kind of guy that I enjoy the process because it is challenging and it makes me feel that I've accomplished something at the end. And that's really kind of what pushes me even further. Like, if I can do this, then I can do this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If I've done that, let me give this a shot. It's like new challenges over and over again. Like, kind of like you're an athlete, you know what I mean? I went up this high. Maybe I can jump this high and, and all that kind of stuff. It's those type of things. It's kind of like seeing the big picture while staying hyper-focused to what it is that you want to accomplish. And I know that may sound contradictory. How can you have this big open glare, so to speak, but at the same time it's like laser point? Well, that's how I do it, and I think that it works very well. That's for me, but that's not putting on blinders. I know what I want to accomplish. So what I usually do is I set a plan, I set goals. And I've always done goals, long-term, short-term type of goals, 3, 6, 12 months. And I know that sounds cliche-ish. Oh, that's the old hat, But though it may not work for everybody, I'm going to just tell you from my experience, what's worked for me. And some of those goals are goals that I know that are definitely achievable, that either I just put off or it's simple ones, like make this call a day or, send this out or just do this. And it's like getting things off your plate, but demonstrating to yourself that you can get where you need to be step by step. Like, I mean, at least not for me at this age. I can't get from the bottom of the step to the top of the steps in one fail leap. Now, I could probably make it from the top of the step to the bottom of the step in one fall, positively, at this age. But I can't go reverse, so I got to do it step by step. So I do it this way. I set goals. Quick attainable ones that are kind of, medium intensity, and then ones that, that are going to be the icing on the cake. And I split them up 3-6 months. Every year with the band, I create a 12-month plan. This is what I want to accomplish in the 12 months. I let the band know this is the goal. We're going to record a new album, and maybe we're going to pepper in this or whatever the case may be. And that's our timeline. And that's what we do. And I've learned that you got to set schedules, and you got to set target dates, you got to set deadlines. Because if you don't, you're just spinning your wheels. You're giving yourself excuses and easy way outs. Even though this isn't, for me, $1 million paycheck, it's not even $1,000 paycheck, it's not about that per se. But if I look at it like that, then it's like, I don't need to do that today. I don't need to do that today. And then all of a sudden, 3 months have passed and nothing's happened. And that's not what an artist is supposed to be, right? We talked about this before. It's about the creativity. And that passion fuels that creativity. So sometimes to keep it on track, you need to have a little bit of an outline. So I give myself target dates. I give myself deadlines. And I give the band the same thing. We put ourselves on schedule. That doesn't mean that I can't be flexible, because you have to be. Stuff comes up in life. You got to give yourself whatever it is. But you got to have your agenda. And you got to stick to that agenda. And when I say you got to be flexible, and when I also say you got to see the big picture while stay hyper-focused, you're hyper-focused on your agenda, but you got to be flexible enough to be able to see what else is around you, because other opportunities are going to present themselves. And even though they do present themselves, that doesn't mean that you forego on your agenda. You still follow through with it. You've just added to. And if it works, great. If it doesn't, it shouldn't derail you from your thing. I mean, it's happened, right? I mean, it's happened to all of us. It happened with the pandemic. I mean, again, not to keep rehashing old stories 2 years old at this point, but, we were in the UK and it was cut short because of the pandemic. We were forced to come home. We kind of lost everything was, even having that agenda was just shut down above and beyond our control at that point. We had to literally regroup within the next month and decide, well, how are we going to do this? What are we going to do? What do we have at our disposal that we can make happen? And we had to just kind of reassess and create a new perspective. And then we got back on track, and we've been on track since. Even with the rest of 2020 and the beginning of 2021 not playing out, we still were able to keep things moving forward the best that we could. So that's being flexible but sticking to your agenda while remaining open to the bigger picture that's happening. Opportunities, especially for artists, are the key, right? New horizons, new doors opening. Like, if not, you get stale, you stagnate, and no changes ever gets to be had. And like I said, you just start to spin your wheels because you're not sticking to target dates or schedules or deadlines, and you've kind of sheltered yourself. You become a shut-in, an artistic shut-in, and it's only you and that's it. And, and I guess maybe sometimes that's necessary, but you can't do that long term, because what we're doing with the music, it's not about just writing for ourselves. It's about writing for ourselves and then sharing that with other people. Yeah, and sooner or later, again, if you're taking it to a certain level or you want to take it on a certain plane, other people have to hear what you're doing. They have to see what you're doing. They have to experience what you're doing, right? So it becomes a sharing type of thing. Listen, sometimes the truth of the matter is what we were just talking about. Things are going to have to change, right? And that may be a plus. And it just alters, like the saying, what's the saying? There's many ways up the mountain, right?
Yep.
And the goal is, the agenda is get to the top of the mountain. Mm-hmm. So you may have to take a different route once in a while, but your goal is still the same. That's the hyper focus, right? But you're also open to the bigger picture that, okay, that pathway I can't go. I can't, whether it's too treacherous, I don't have enough skill to maneuver that, or that's blocked off, or this was on the map, but it looks like it's no longer here. I have to find some other place to do, and some will be more challenging than others. Some will be a little, and that's where your skill sets, like you're saying, as an artist, as a business person, as a brand ambassador, so to speak, comes in handy, because it's not like you're just kind of shooting from the hip all the time. You're starting to build up a rapport of how you conduct business, who you conduct business with, what's the procedure here. And we talked about this once before, like if we were to pluck ourselves out, or somebody was very kind to pluck ourselves out and put us on the next level of being an artist or a musician, we'd have to learn the new set of rules. Some things that we do now may not apply because they're done in a completely different format. And we'd have to quickly learn that if we were going to survive, right? But you wouldn't just be doing it completely blinded, because you'd have to take what you've already learned from the bottom rungs and start applying it and massaging it as you go along. So really, it's, it comes down to, and I know this is a lot of hoo ha ha, and then the ooh ah, and then I'm chanting, and I got this thing, But the thing is, it's when you're building that type of internal structure, that internal framework, it gives you the confidence not to just talk about it, to do it. Because people talk about things that they want to do, but they lack maybe the confidence or the education, the know-how, the guts.
And sometimes just discipline too. Sometimes it's just literally discipline.
Yes, like sticking to a schedule, like there's a lot of writing for artists about how you go about and maximize your studio time, maximize your writing time. Like if you're an author, right? They suggest you write a page a day, or you write 2,000 words a day, 5,000 words a day. Everybody's got something different. Stephen King has a tried and true method for him, but it doesn't work for other people. Some people write a line a day. Some people write several lines a day, a page a day. Like I said, some people want to write 5 pages a day. It all depends. People do, just channeling, journaling, just a bunch of gibberish every day, and then they go through it and see what they have. People write songs like that. Whatever the case may be. Guitar players call it noodling around, and they'll record it in maybe a half hour, 40 minutes, and then they pick piece. Oh, that's an interesting piece, or oh, that's something I can put together. Whatever the case may be, it's just like you said, it's a self-discipline that has to be taught in a sense and then maintained. And that's probably one of the hardest things to do. But talking about it, if anything, social media is a training ground for just talking about it. It's a frenzy. Everybody talks about
100%.
Everything, but not a lot of people do, right? And that's real life for you. You got your armchair quarterbacks, and then you have the guys that are out there doing it. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And like I said, it's not always easy to make that leap. Like me, I'm early and at the beginning of this podcast, I'm telling Disney what they should do. Actually, I didn't say what they should do. I'm just talking it from an old fan, make it exciting type of thing. But you know what I mean? Listen, I'll take a quarter of that salary and give it a go. And if it stinks, then I'll give most of it back. Just let me keep a little bit and some autographs and maybe Boba Fett's helmet or something. Okay, and then and then I'll go and say, listen, I was wrong. I didn't mean anything, but I got a little money and I got Boba Fett's helmet. Bye.
You are listening to The Cosmic Voice with your hosts, Chris Natalini and Mick Michaels.
So, again, that's just some of the things that we actually do in my band, and I do personally as well, both in business and with the band and other things. But I approach it in a similar way, and I find that there's good results from it. I always have to make some modification. And with the new industry, after we all started emerging from the shutdowns and the pandemic, some of this had to be in terms of how you were dealing with people, or, because there's a bit of a fear about people interacting with stuff, business that I did face to face over the last year. Some of it's now been done on Zoom because, the no contact thing? You know what I mean? Money that used to be exchanged in person now is being done through, apps and stuff like that. But people want to continue to move forward, but they want to move forward in a different kind of way. So whether I like it or I don't like it, I have to learn about it. I have to be prepared for it. I can't say, nope, I'm not doing that. Well, who loses out? Well, you do. Your business, your brand does, right? So you want to be able to do it. And real quick, coming up we never talked publicly about things we were doing. We kept it always under wrap because, I mean, there was always a fear of someone stealing the idea or, kind of turning your mind on it to maybe, hey, that's, because you'll get a lot of naysayers. Oh, don't do that or don't do this. I mean, that's within anything. You'll get people, But at the same time, you want that bang effect, that emerald bang, that kind of thing, And because if you give it away too soon, but see, and this is what we talked about earlier, this is the market we're in now, to give it away too soon. So that when it does actually come out, there's nothing to it.
Yeah.
Right?
It's also one of those things, too, like, if you put it out there, and it's funny because I was always the guy that I didn't want to jinx it. So I didn't say anything.
Yeah.
Because my fear was I'll say it, blow it up, and then it won't happen.
Yeah, that's the Italian in you. That's the Italian in you right there. Because
it's the Catholic guilt.
Yeah,
But no, man, that's just how I was. I was always like, God, I want to say this so bad, but I don't want to jinx it. You know what I mean? Like, I will wait till it's, solid or, it's close to, then I'll say it. But I was always that guy. Like, I never wanted to jinx it. I was always afraid I would blow it.
Yeah, no, I understand exactly what you're saying. We were kind of taught you keep it under wraps. You don't let the world know what you're doing, because sometimes, I guess, sometimes like loose lips sink ships, right?
Yep.
Stephen Piercy always said that, but I think he meant something different. And there's the possibility that it doesn't come out the way that you're boasting about it, and then you don't want to fall flat on your face, or because you always, again, you have those naysayers. There's people pointing, "See, I told you," or that kind of thing. So a lot of times, you're growing up and you want to avoid that as much as you can, and then you hit them with the biggest impact you can. But now with social media, the internet, that's where all your pre-promotion happens. So if you're going to start to talk about it, it already has to be in play, right? It has to be something. Yeah. And the way I look at it is, once we say it for real, then that's it. You're stuck to it. You just signed your own warrant for that thing. Because if you don't come through with it, you look like you're a... and I know some people will say, well, at the indie levels, most people don't even pay attention to it or something. It doesn't matter if they do or they don't. It's about what you say and how you deliver. Right? Here he said, listen, and not to talk about anybody, but consider, I'll use Vinnie Vincent as an example. The guy comes back after all these years. He makes all these promises about a new album and a tour and these things, and then they were all canceled. He took people's money, nothing happened. And then he did it again. He did it a second time, and I don't know. Has he done a show yet since he's been back?
I don't think so, dude. I mean, maybe one or two. I don't even know.
I don't know, but the guy had more shows booked than I do normally, and and then none of them happened. So I don't know. Yet there's still people that go, okay, I'll give him money, I'll do this and all, and I'm not sure why. You know what I mean? Because he's not, know. But that's what I'm saying. But do you want to be that person? I don't want to be that kind of person.
No, I don't want to be that person.
You know what I mean? I'd rather just not do anything than have that kind of it's like that's just too much. Right? So at least if you deliver, even if it's a dud, well, they delivered and you move on. Once it's done, and I've always been a guy that once it's done, once it's out there, I'm done with it. I move on to something else.
You move on.
I don't even listen to my albums when they release. Like, once I send them in and I've gotten past that point, I
same way.
Like, I have my own personal collection of the stuff that we do. They're still all in the wrapper. I don't undo them. And I put them away and I don't see it. Yeah, I'm already past that, and that's not to say that I just put it past it. Because if I linger there too long, I'll find out I'll start saying I should have did this, I should have done that. Hey, it is what it is. When those things that I really have a thing with, and I've done this too because I've made this part of our goals, is I've gone back in the catalog. I've taken albums out. You can't get them anymore because they were just not done as well as they should have been because we were learning the ropes. And those songs have been redone. They've been retooled, rearranged, whatever. And they show up as bonus tracks or freebies that we give out. Or, on one Christmas album, we put a hidden track called Meet Your Maker on there. It had nothing to do with Christmas, but we just figured we'd throw it out there. Even on our Blood and Steel, there's a couple hidden tracks on the CD version that we didn't post them on the card or anything like that, and even on the EPs, Volume 1, Volume 2, on the physical CDs that we have, there's bonus tracks that aren't, you don't list them. but but they're songs that we had redone, and we just, whatever. We just did it. We didn't talk about it. Didn't go out and say, "Hey guys, this is what we're going to do." No, we just did it, and and then we just made it as part of whatever package that we're doing. It's just a way to increase the brand and to keep that value up, right? And for us not to go, wow, just because we did it doesn't mean that it's good. You know what I mean? Or that we should accept it as such. And again, like I said, I'd be the first to tell you, first couple albums that this band did, they were good albums song-wise. I didn't have a problem with the songs. A lot of it was the production, because we were just learning the digital ropes. But then as you mature as a band, as you work together more and more, you find that, hey, man, you know what? We're going to tweak this, or this is how we play the song live. Let's do it this way instead of how we originally did it. There's nothing is written in stone. So...
No.
But if you don't give yourself a couple tablets, chiseled in with some directions on it, you're just gonna kind of flounder around. What am I doing?
You have to have a plan. You have to set a plan in motion. Yeah.
Whenever it was that you decided to grow that beard, you had a plan, right?
Yeah, I was hiding my chin.
Well, that was your plan. So the goal was to hide the chin, get it, and at one point you said, if I go a little longer, I'll hide the neck.
That's 100%.
You know what I mean?
100%. Yep.
So,
that's 100%.
Then you can get away with those cut-off collars, and no one will know the difference. I'm a firm believer, just do it. Do whatever you can.
Yep.
One person had said to me in an interview a couple of years back, I brought up some things about they've done this, they've done that. What's their mindset? And their mindset was just don't say no. Say yes, and you'll figure out how to get it done.
100%.
And
that is 100%.
That is such a powerful perspective, an intent to have. It's like, hey, I'll figure it out, because part of it is the drive, right? And like you said, there's some self-discipline there, knowing that I'm going to do whatever I can to make it work. May not be 100%, but you can't deny the amount of effort and passion that will be put into it. So I've taken that. I've always been one, I'll figure it out. I kind of learn as I go along. I was never a great reader. Reading directions even now is like impossible. I was always a doer. Like this, let me get my hands dirty. I'll figure it out as I go along. And if you're paying attention, you're diligent about it, right? You'll pick it up quickly. If you're doing it haphazardly, lackluster, all that, injury's going to happen, or you're going to miss something, and then there's no drive, and you're like, how many people start that kind of thing, and then they get into some kind of new hobby, new activity, they go in half-hearted, and then they quit within the first couple weeks. This isn't for me. I'm so much more equipped to sitting on the couch. My thumbs are much stronger than the rest of my body, and I can keep flicking through the stations at rapid speeds. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. So I don't know. Just, get out there. Do it. You want a beard to cover your chin and neck? Do it. You want to write music? Do it. You want to open up for Cannibal Corpse or Dead Man's Horse Gallery or whatever the name of the band is? Do it. Call somebody up. Like our man on the other side of the screen here said, nowadays it's almost nothing to get in touch with anybody that you want to get in touch with. Send them a message.
Just do it.
Just do it.
Just do it.
Right?
Do it. And don't be afraid, don't be afraid of the no's, because you will get no, and that's okay. You just pick up and move on.
Yeah, man. Listen, all successful people have a list of no's that they received. Nope, can't do it. Sorry, bye-bye. Keep your day job if you have one. Blah, 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 blah. And they just kept pressing. And each no experience teaches you something. Like if you're doing it correctly, okay, well maybe all this worked up until this point. So then what do I do here? You know what I mean? Right. And this is how you find your way around. This is how we maneuver through life, people. We maneuver through the... Listen, not everybody's Chris Natalini. It's not going to be an easy ride for all of us. All right? That rock star life, the young wife, the popularity, everybody knows who he is, The rest of us have to work hard. I don't know what to tell you. What do you got, buddy? You want to add anything else?
No, man. I think the only thing that I would like to add is, it just takes that one yes to take you to the next step. That's it. Just one.
That's it.
Just one.
Yep. A lot can happen with that one yes. Now, I'm not saying that you're going to hit the top of the charts with it, but some confidence
Take
is
it to the
built.
next step.
That's right. It gives you the momentum to go one step further. It's nothing like being at a show and one person comes up to you and goes, "Man, I really enjoyed your set." And then you leave the show and you didn't make any money and you got a ticket for your parking. But it was that one person that said, "Man, I really liked your set." And it fuels you for the next thing. It's just that one positive thing that keeps pushing you forward. So
That's it.
all right, if you like that and all that other BS that we gave you, check out some of our older episodes at www.thecosmicvoice.com. Don't be afraid to step into the Cosmic Verse. Thanks, everyone, for listening. This is the Cosmic Voice. Be sure to check us out at thecosmicvoice.com. Like and follow us on Facebook at The Cosmic Voice. You can find The Cosmic Voice everywhere you listen to online podcasts, like Deezer, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Anchor, Stitcher, and so many more.
Okay, folks, that will do it for another episode of The Cosmic Voice. Mick and I would like to say thank you very much for tuning in, and we will see you next week.
You're listening to The Cosmic Voice. Music, talk, and nothing but business.